October 1st, 2013. Mindy's call. Well, things aren't shaping up too well for October. Today, as most of you are aware, the government shut down. Yes, we have a governmental shutdown for the United States because our illustrious Congress and Senate could not come to an agreement on a spending package. Yeah, they're acting like a bunch of 2-year-olds, in my opinion. All of this, of course, relates back to Obamacare and the fact that the Republicans hate Obamacare and they're still trying to get rid of Obamacare, even though it was signed into a law, it was challenged clear to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ruled that it was not unconstitutional and upheld it in a Supreme Court ruling. The Republicans are still fighting it. They are trying to, this time they're trying to, now they're trying to cut funding to Obamacare and attempt to stall it. Of course, the Democrats are against this, and so they are refusing to sign the spending bill that the Republicans are trying to pass that cuts the funding, and so they are at impasse, and of course the government has now partially shut down, which the long story short story of that is 800,000 federal employees are now on furlough, which means they cannot go into work. They are not allowed to go into work, and they are off work without pay. So their bills continue to come in, but they've got no income to pay said bills. Our military forces that continue to serve their country with honor and to risk their lives in service to their country are without pay. Their pay is on hold until somebody is in the office to pay them. So they don't get paychecks until the government restarts, even though they continue to have to serve their country and continue to put their lives on the line for us. Okay, our veterans who rely on services, disabled veterans who rely on services, from veterans hospitals and stuff like that, their services are currently furloughed. They do not get, they will not get any of their disabled services right now. They have to go without those services because that's shut down. These are men and women that served their country with honor, that became disabled, lost legs, arms in service to their country, suffered from post-traumatic stress syndrome in service to their country. They now will receive no services because that too has been furloughed, because our senators and congressmen can't get along, can't come up with a spending bill, because they're acting like children over the Obamacare thing. And all of this they claim is because, and they claim that they are doing what the American public wants, even though polls show that 87% of Americans were dead set against shutting down the government. But hey, they're acting in our best interests. Don't know why they think this, but apparently, even though we have strongly polled in favor of not shutting down the government, they still think that we want to shut down the government. I don't know where they get these ideas. Anyway, our national parks are closed. Our national monuments are closed. The businesses, the tourist industry that rely on these monuments and parks being open, they now have no income coming in from those avenues, so they're going to take a hit in the pocketbook. The economy is going to take a hit. The last time, just the threat of shutting down the government caused us to take a financial hit. So you can bet the stock market's going to take a hit on this thing. Our ability to borrow money, we took a downgrade as far as a downgrade in the banking industry. Our borrowing ability was lowered once. I don't know if we're going to get lowered in our borrowing ability again, but we took a hit there last time. As far as world opinion of us, we're probably going to take another hit there. So I can honestly say that this is not going to be a good thing for our country, and all of this because the congressmen and senators, the Republicans and Democrats, are acting like toddlers. In fact, I think toddlers at this point are more mature than they are. So, that's the status of our government. Things are not looking good there. We also have the pending threat of a FEMA disaster in Region 3. There's a continued threat there. We do not know what's going to occur there. There's all kinds of information out on the internet about that going on. October is supposed to be the month in which ISON, the comet ISON, passes by planet Earth. It's supposed to possibly have a negative impact on planet Earth. It's supposed to possibly have a mess up our magnetic fields. It could. Well, there's some theory that the comet could even hit the sun. There could be some solar flares. We are not sure what is going on exactly there. What we do know is that FEMA it seems to be in red alert status in Region 3. Let me remind you that Region 3 consists of Washington, D.C., Pennsylvania, Maryland, Delaware are the states involved in FEMA Region 3. Those are the states that are in red alert status. FEMA is amassing a huge amount of emergency food and water, as well as ammunition, antibiotics. I'm not exactly sure what the threat is to those states. I only know that FEMA seems to be amassing a huge effort in FEMA Region 3. As far as the rest of the United States go, the threat doesn't seem to be to the entire United States. It seems to be that area alone that seems to be having the problem. If you're in those states, again, I would suggest that you stock up on emergency supplies. I would suggest stocking up on food, water. Make sure you have a full tank of gas. Extra blankets. Those states this time of year are starting to get cold. Extra blankets, flashlights, batteries. Definitely stock up on batteries. Battery-operated radios, propane. You're gonna, in a situation like this, don't try to heat the whole house. Confine yourself to about one room of the house. Put blankets over windows and stuff. Blankets over doorways to try to heat up one room. First aid kits. Basic survival supplies. It doesn't look like this threat is going to be from basically the month of October. It looks like by early November, the problem should have passed through FEMA Region 3. Okay, that basically they're concentrating on FEMA Region 3 at this point. But there are some real oddities going on in this country right now. We have foreign troops training in the United States right now. Supposedly 386,000 foreign troops are training in this country right now, learning urban warfare, learning English, learning to use U.S. weapon systems. FEMA is amassing huge amounts of antibiotics, buying up huge amount of coffin liners, preparing mass graves. There are FEMA camps going in all over the United States. If you want to check out my other videos, there is a video about FEMA camps that even lists off the areas where there are FEMA camps, so you can actually go and look at my video on the FEMA camps, and that will actually give you the links you need to go to actually find out where the FEMA camps are in your state. It might be good to have that information just down the road, should there ever be an emergency in your state, or should things ever go to shit in this country, and you need to have that information. It's probably good to know that information, just in case there is ever a state of emergency. FEMA is preparing for something. I don't know if it's just, in the case of, our weather seems to be going to crap. It's becoming more and more catastrophic, and I think that could be why we're putting up more and more of these FEMA camps. Our weather is definitely becoming more and more catastrophic. Just yesterday in the Seattle area, they had a tornado, there has never been a tornado, to my knowledge, in the Seattle area in Washington, but they had an EF1 tornado actually touch down outside of Seattle. This has never happened, okay? We have tornadoes where they're not supposed to be tornadoes. We got earthquakes where they're not supposed to be earthquakes. So weather is definitely changing in this country. There are things that you need to be aware of, and people definitely need to be taking survival seriously. You need to have emergency supplies on hand. You need to have an emergency supplies of food on hand. You need to be prepared in the case of an emergency. That's how you survive. So these are things you need to know. If you're in FEMA Region 3, you definitely need to be prepared because there is definitely something going on in October. I don't know whether it's going to be weather related or not. So these are the things that you need to know. Beyond our, and with the government shutdown and everything, who the heck knows what's going on there. So these are some of the things you needed to know. Okay.